it's good to have you back on the show, and I think the first time interviewing you in our fabulous, cool studio.
Oh yeah. It's from last time. What a big difference! I'm actually really impressed, and I can't wait for next year or 2 years from now.
Yeah,
to see how big it's going to get.
I think so. Yeah,
I think so. I know for sure.
We got some really good ideas and interests. But anyway, let's talk about let's talk about big ideas. When the name Ignacio Garcia comes up, it's obviously at the top of the list of Tucson muralists. I've noticed that you don't do like a lot of small stuff.
I was not expecting to do some small stuff. They just kind of, I guess people just wanted to go big,
I guess so. And I should mention, if you got to watch the video, if you're just listening on the radio or on the podcast, because you came in like the worst dressed person we've ever had on the show.
Oh, perfect.
You are covered in paint. You're wearing knee pads. Did you literally just get off the scaffolding?
I literally got off the lift.
Okay.
Yeah. It was quite, nice. The weather was quite challenging today.
Yeah, it was chilly.
It was very cold. Yeah.
A little rain today.
A little sprinkle. I got a little sprinkle. Yeah.
So let's talk about. I want to talk about a few things, but let's catch everyone up here.
Yeah.
On the project that you're completing right now.
Yes.
As we record this, it's Tuesday. We're going to air this on Sunday, and by this coming Saturday, February 1st, you're having the reveal of your brand new mural.
Yes.
Which is
the Tucson Rodeo 100-year anniversary. That's insane.
It's insane.
100 years. Can you believe that?
I can, because I've seen old photos, and it's like this non-mechanized parade and all these things that and all these traditional things that when I moved to Tucson, I never would have believed it. But after being here for a while, I get a sense of it. But the what I can't believe is the size of that thing. Is that your largest mural?
For Tucson, it is my largest. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
If you're it's at that intersection of Tool and Alameda and Sixth, and it's there's a parking lot there, and it's like a city building, right? Like city court or something.
The city court, yeah.
It's just and it's just, you see it from everywhere.
I did not expect that, to be honest with you. I've been eyeing on that wall for many years. I've had a lot of proposals to it. It never went through, but because the rodeo, it made sense to represent Tucson that way.
Sure.
So I pushed it really hard for it to because I believed in it. It was a perfect spot for it.
Did you come up with the design and approach the rodeo, or did someone come to you and
say? The rodeo, actually, they came to me.
Okay.
And they were asking, hey, we want to see if we can do a mural. I was like, sure. And then the more we talked about it, the more I wanted to know more about the history. I didn't know much. I didn't know even much more about the rodeo as well, because it seemed like it was just kind of the old Tucson tradition. But now it's became 100 years. I'm like, oh, we got to go big. Let's go. let's make the Tucson rodeos into a new form for a younger audience and a new kind of perspective of what kind of this cowboy new look would be. And I think it's already grabbing a lot of insane attention because of that.
It's interesting because from different parts of downtown, you just see different pieces of it. Like when you're standing in front of it, obviously you see the whole mural, but if you're a couple of blocks away and you're looking over, you see like a rooftop, and then you see like a cowboy.
Yeah.
Just sort of peeking out over the rooftop.
That's right.
It's pretty big.
Oh, then you see 100. I was like, what's 100 for? And then
the design of it though, is that how does that work? Is that something that you drew out and said, hey, let's first of all, lay the scene, and we'll put some links to it, of course, on our Facebook page. But there's three. The major focus of it. There's three cowboys standing.
Yeah,
and they look cowboy. Like, are they real people?
It's a little bit of everything.
Okay,
because doing the research, I wanted to make sure that it was done exactly right. That really represented the Tucson rodeo. And the fan base, the true fan base that really represented all these years. I wanted to make sure that I was kind of, including them a priority. And the more I was talking, I was taking some notes. I saw a lot of photos. I went to card stocks, some stock photos, even some AI. I did everything as much as possible to kind of capture that look. But it wasn't I mean, I had to go through a lot. Like with any major mural, I have to go through a lot of renderings to make sure it's done right. You want to make sure that it lasts like it's maybe like 5 years ahead of its time. That way, when it's 5 years comes, it'll be already another 5 more years for it to age. So longevity, maybe 10 years. That's my goal. But things change in the time. But the thing is that I wanted to make sure that the design that fits everything. So there's little puzzles in there. There's little, me, I put little hidden things in there. And so, it's something that I need to, that it's all there. Everything that represents Tucson, especially the culture and the people that were behind it.
Can you give us an idea of the puzzles, or do we have to figure that out on our own?
You know what? It's best for you for them to see it in person, because when you see it in person, it's why even spoil it? You know what I mean? I think it'll be best that way, but it's really cool.
Well, it absolutely is. So you come up with a rendering, you go to the rodeo, and they're like, this is perfect, and you just start. Yes,
yeah. We had to go through the city and the Arts Foundation and had meetings to get the city approved. It has challenges as normal. We want to make sure that to hear it from their perspective is always important to have, and sometimes you might miss something that you don't even know, and it's always good to have those opinions available there too.
Yeah, I'd imagine with the amount of research that you do, there's probably a bunch of different concepts that came through as far as what you wanted to do.
Yes, there were at least maybe 20 concepts.
Oh my gosh!
But at least 5 were kind of approved.
Okay,
and then it kind of filtered down. And then once it got selected, then that had to be filtered out, and then had to kind of branch out to its own little thing. But we were going back and forth to make sure everything's right. But it got approved, and we were excited, and that right there just immediately just felt right to know that this is going to be. I just knew that this wall was perfect for the rodeo, because it literally, the history of the rodeo represents Tucson.
Yeah.
And the Sonoran culture.
Yeah, and it seems like that culture, that history, just in the people, the way you've drawn the people, what they're wearing, all of the accessories, it just really sort of represents this region so well.
Yeah, and I try to make it a mixed culture. And you want to make sure it's like, I don't want people to think it's that one race or that race. It's like a community, so everyone's sharing ideas, and that's the goal. And that's how Tucson always been. And it's always will always present itself that way.
Is it named yet?
For now, I think it's just the Vaqueros. I called it the Three Amigos at first, or Los Tres Amigos, but I don't know. It has all these kind of things, the Tucson Rodeo mural, but I think Los Vaqueros is probably sounds more rodeo-ish, and then Tucson-ish.
Yeah, I mean it's a very serious. It's a very serious piece.
It is. I didn't expect that. I did not expect the people's reaction, that how emotional they really got. It really spoke to the people that have been here longer than I have. I mean, it's crazy to know that. I would never expect that this mural is speaking for them.
Well, and over the last few years, as I've gotten to really know you. The pieces that you've been doing are the Empowered Woman, La Catarista, Rosa's Resistance, which I want to talk to you about, but very powerful, vibrant women.
Yeah.
And then to switch to this, I mean, is it different or is it just people?
No, it's very dramatic. I mean, all the pieces is very dramatic. It has to be a dynamic in a sense that, it has a traditional look to it, but yet there's a story behind it. But you don't have to see it; you just feel it. That's the goal. But there is a female Bronco rider there.
I saw that. Yeah, I was. My first thought was seeing these large portrayals of men. I'm like, that's not Ignacio. Tranquil lady. Like we gotta. Where's the lady?
Yeah.
Where's the ladies? And then of course. You incorporated to bring everyone in that's associated with the rodeo.
The Tranquil lady got covered, so it's not there no more.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. Yeah, I saw that on 4th Avenue, which it talks to that sort of what you're saying earlier, that these as beautiful as they are, they're temporary.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just don't know. Recently, I think the most recent news before this one was when you covered up Bill and the jackalope.
Yeah, I got a lot of
Rialto.
People like, I guess, freaking out.
I think they were, when I talked, because our gallery's right in front of that. When I talked to people about it, they were, some of them that understood it were sad.
Yeah.
But then when they knew that you had chosen to do that and it was your work that was going over it, it made them feel, okay, it's sort of an evolution. It's the next phase.
Yeah.
And as you explained, I think in an interview either here or on some podcast that we did through Meet the Artist, talking about, really representing downtown and the culture more so than you thought, that you liked Bill and the Jackalope, but it might be more fitting for a Fourth Avenue or a university setting.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus I had posters that can give away people that were attached to it. So it was something that I felt like
gave a lot of those away.
I think there was like 1,000 of them. Yeah. I still have a little few left over. So I'll still give them away.
So then the one mural that we've not really talked about, which I honestly think is my favorite, or, I guess they're all my favorite, but the one that I really, when I look at it, just draws me in is Rosa's Resistance. Yeah. Can you tell us a little about that and like what's going on in there?
So that building was a fabrication before it got abandoned or sold. But before that, it was actually a steel working place for the railroad. And after that, a lot of steel work that was happening there. And I believe there was a car lot. I don't know from what I remember.
But originally, it had been used by the railroad for
absolutely. Yeah,
steel.
the whole block, that's actually that's on an iron block.
Yeah, Iron Horse neighborhood.
Yeah, Iron Horse. Yeah, sorry,
Iron Horse neighborhood.
Yeah,
and then like that beautiful woman in this very rough setting. I think I told you before we came on air. It's got this really rough, rugged edge to it, but it's also at the same time very soft and very.
Yeah. I think that balance is because again, being in the public, I always have to balance that out. I always try to test out things here and there, but it's always important after so many years of experience to kind of know what your limit would be. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, you want to have this appealing femininity to it, but yet again, that it has a strong emotional impact. But overall, just visually stunning in a sense of like dramatic.
Well, and it's the red. I think it definitely has a feel to it. If you haven't seen it, it's in the Iron Horse neighborhood, across from the coffee shop there. It's on 9th and 9th Street and 3rd Avenue.
Yes.
Kind of tucked away, so it might not be as well known as some of your other ones.
Yeah.
And she's in there. Is she working on the railroad, or what's she doing?
So originally we wanted to put a railroad worker there, and then once I started doing the female traditional women, then they wanted to say, oh, what if can you change it to a female? I was like, sure. Something about it just didn't look right. It kind of looked like deliberately. Knowing me, like I have to make sure that sometimes you don't want to tell a story too much. You want to just let the imagination kind of create the story of the idea. Because then it becomes kind of personal if you give it away too much. So you want to kind of step back.
Yeah.
So, but because it's already the Iron Horse block area, the community, everyone knows about the history about that community. So I try to make it seem like as if it was an actual person that actually was there to give that. And you can, when you see it, it gives you the sense of, you can hear it,
you can definitely hear the sound. Like you all your senses you can use by looking at that. You can hear it. I think you can kind of smell.
Yep.
And there's a lot that you get from that. It's just amazing to me what you can do with paint on a brick wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when that got approved, I'm like, let's do it. I mean, sometimes like some projects, they pay for what it's, what they're paying for. I actually did it deliberately. I was like, you know what? I'll put a little bit extra to this because I knew that it needed it. It needed something that it was unique. But I always, me, I always tend to overdo myself.
Yeah,
like, I just can't.
We should probably edit that piece out because when people are coming to you for a mural, they'll be like, "Oh, just underbid him because he'll still make it great."
Oh no,
I'm just teasing.
No, yeah, I mean, there's always a way to work things out. I'm not, I whatever. In the end, it's the end result that's valuable to me.
And it's been great for our community the way that
absolutely.
And a lot of the muralists, I think, also are in that same. When it's up there and it's permanent, they want it to be that lasting impression. And we are kind of running low on time, but I want to jump back really quickly to something you said that caught my attention about your research for the newest mural.
Yeah,
you said you went through, you like tinkered with AI.
Yeah,
like how does that work? I mean, that seems odd to me that as an artist that AI comes into play for you. How does that?
I've always been digitally I geek out with anything with digital forever. I mean, in fact, I was doing Photoshop 2 in high school. This is almost 30 years ago. It's insane. So since then, I started using Photoshop. Even Photoshop, when I was using it, people were like kind of degrading me because like, oh, you're cheating, But when I lived in LA, they're like, oh, you use Photoshop? Yes, you're hired. You're a professional, But things evolve, But that's how technology works. It's always going to be a tool, no matter what. I don't judge on that. For myself, is always a way to kind of understand why that is. And it's not perfect, but it's, you still have to you have to be creative no matter what in the end. For me, it still takes me the same amount of time to come up with something out of my head or doing some Photoshop, so it's a little bit faster, but I'm still a perfectionist to knowing exactly what I want. So it's not like, for me, it's just a tool.
It's just a tool. Interesting. Mm-hmm. It's a good perspective. Well, Los Vaqueros, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Looking forward to, it's a reveal, but it's kind of hard to reveal something that's so publicly out there.
Well, this is the crazy thing is that for those people that, it's already been on social media for the last couple of weeks. It looks way different than what it looks now. So,
yeah. Well, literally before this interview, you got off the lifts. I mean, there were changes to it. Whatever was posted 2 weeks ago is not accurate.
People think it's done, but it's not. No, it looks completely different. So it just kind of happened that way. I mean, this was like a month before, and then people were just kind of promoting it and got a lot of great viral, I guess. But people think it's done, but it's really not done. I'm still working on it. I'll be finishing it by tomorrow or Thursday or something.
So, but for the reveal on the 1st, it'll be done.
It will be done by then for sure. Yeah. But if anyone wants to come and look at it after it's done the next couple of days, then you'll notice a huge difference. It's not how it looks like what you saw on social media, but it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Ignacio Garcia, always a pleasure to take some time with you, and I really appreciate, as busy as you are, literally coming in and spending time with us today.
Well, thank you, Tom. Thank you for having me here. And I got excited being here again to be interviewed by you again. So just to see how everything's coming along, man, it's crazy.
Blushing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.